Freaky Friday. You already know we at work decided to hop on, chop it up with individuals. It was a talk of the town. It's going down. The word on the curve. You heard me. You already know here in Southern California, it is a beautiful, beautiful day. Beautiful, beautiful, lovely day today. Charge my phone real quick because I don't want it to die like it always does. Should be good. Because it was on 10%, so I don't know how long that would have lasted. Yeah, we right here trying to see what's good with the folks in the lokes on this Friday. Ain't got no job, ain't got shit to do. Don't get high, don't get fucked up. Like Smokey says in Friday. Now, for those who are curious, I did drop a new video on my other channel, right? A battle rap reaction, if you guys want to scope that out. Talented, you know, individuals from both North and South. Bringing the skills onto the mic with that new school flavor. So we did that. Whoopsie. Oh. Now, all right. Yeah, so if you guys want to scope that out, we have been dropping, you know, battle rap reactions on the other channel. You know, dope music, fuego, like always. You know, the raza always brings the fuego. I mean, once in a while we'll get a dud, you know, battle, but so far they've been elite fuego, flame type of rap. Well, for those who are interested in rap. You know, we do a battle rap reaction over there where we compare, you know, who's better between the northern rappers track or the southern rappers track. But it's all just revolves around music and is a friendly competition. You know, nothing to get, you know, people's panties in a bunch and nothing to be gangbanging over and, you know, talking reckless. Because occasionally you will get somebody that comes in and, you know, tends to do that. I don't know why, you know. But yet they want to insult us when they're the ones that are on the internet doing the shit talking. Which always blows my mind. You know, it's like they want to insult, but at the same time, the behaviors they're highlighting is the very same behaviors that they're, you know, displaying. So I just find that, you know, funny. Now, I had seen that they have finally arrested the shooter of the Charlie Kirk shooting. Finally have a person in custody, right? Supposedly confessed to his father and he turned his ass in. It's crazy. All right, big guy. What's good? So I was like, damn, bro. Went and told his dad, and his dad was like, you got to turn yourself in. And his dad is a sheriff? Well, I see that the apple definitely fell far from the tree. I don't know what happened there. Hi, baby. What? I don't know about all that. But, hey, at least they got somebody in custody, though. At least now the guy's family could, you know, be at ease. At least not, you know, knowing that the shooter's now been detained. If it is him, right? Because that's what they say. But who knows? They have said that, you know, they had other people, you know, that were the suspect with. They say they think that this guy is for sure the one. But who knows? This administration likes to flip-flop a lot, so who knows if they might just come out with another press conference saying that they got the wrong guy again. Imagine those who already had seen, like, the picture of the other individuals, right, and think that they were the shooters, right? Now you're going to ruin their reputation. But they don't give a fuck. Savages. It's like they do stuff so reckless. It's crazy. Okay. Play. I don't know how to play music on while I'm doing YouTube. I don't know how to do none of that kind of stuff. I should learn how to do that kind of shit. That shit would probably be cool. I just don't know how to do that. I don't even know if I could do it through my phone. Do people do it through a phone or you gotta do it through a computer? Like where they play like videos and music and all that. Yeah, I definitely don't know how to do that. When it comes to technology, like, we suck. At least I could do it like as a video, right? I just don't know how to do it while I'm on the live, like doing the live while doing that. I do see other channels doing it though. I'm like, damn, wonder how they get down like that. Why is the homie texting? We'll eventually learn how to do that. That'd be pretty dope to start playing, some requests that the people have. Get a feel for different types of music. Because I have, reacted to like music that my subscribers have wanted me to react to, right? And there's been like different types of music, like Irish rappers from England, Hindu rappers. So, and they get down, even though I don't understand, like half of them, right? Shit, they get down though. Sounds legit. I'm even willing to do it to like bands and like not just rap, but like other types of music as well. I'm not one that's just like stuck on rap or just like, oh no, I only will hear rap. I'm willing to explore other type of music. Opera. Some opera. Fa la la. Nah. Now the only opera I know is like the whatever shown on movies. We never actually been to a fucking opera play. Cause they're like that. They're like musical plays, kind of like fucking like the Broadway shows. Like they have like cats. The original types of movies, right? The original cinema. I mean, I'm willing to scope those shits out if they're good, if they're legit. What's cracking like it, Mr. Pasa is definitely up in the casa. What's good, my loke? Are we chilling like a villain? Excuse me. What about yourself, carnal? What you getting yourself into? On this Friday? Life. Miracle. Like what do you mean though? Like exactly like what do you mean? Like a person who's like on a wheelchair and all of a sudden he could walk? Because those people are definitely full of shit. I'll tell you that much. I mean, I have seen some fucking videos where they do like miracles or they do like shit and it's fucking mind blowing. Like, they have this one where the guy's like, preaching at a church and, just with a touch of a finger, he pushes the people back and they go flying or they faint. And I'm just like, stop. Just stop. Just knock it off already, bro. Like you're why are you making a mockery out of the religion, bro? Like the audacity of the individual. Charlie Kirk makes hell great again. Nah, I mean, look, I disagree with the individual, and I have called them names, right? And I'm not taking, and I don't feel different now that he passed away, right? But at the same time, that fool didn't deserve to lose his life, though. He didn't deserve to die, though. For his political view, like, come on, man, this shit is not that serious, though. It's just a fucking debate. It's just a conversation. It's not, that fool shouldn't have gotten killed for that. I mean, that fool's got kids. I mean, like, especially when we're talking about like pushing, like, for example, because I'm not a Democrat, and not a Republican, I'm not a conservative, I'm not a liberal. I hate all the politics because I think that they're all the same to me. They're all full of shit, right? So I'm able to see the bullshit in both sides and the games they play, and I'm able to, highlight and even give credit to both sides if their ideas are good, right? But at the same time, the left is always pushing about, this peace and being about the bigger person, the more intelligent person, the handling stuff, the better way, right? The grown up way. But yet, a lot of their supporters tend to take a lot of violent actions on individuals, and it's like, and maybe because they push it in a type like a hatred type of manner, right? That maybe that's their audience, receives it that way. It's crazy. Um, immigrants' parents have kids too. Yeah, but that's the thing though. That fool's not deporting people. Like he's not the one that's deporting the people though. You get what I mean? And I get it. He supports the individual that is, right? But that fool's got no power. That fool's got no say so. You know what I mean? Like he's got and put it like this. If if he was to go to Donald if Charlie Kirk was to go to Donald Trump and tell him, hey, I think you need to like not, deport these people and he'll be like, get the fuck out of my office. Who the fuck does he think he is? I knew you were a fucking loser. I knew that you were nothing but a fucking parasite. That's what he would tell him. Now, remove him before I backhand him. Trump is not gonna listen to him. Trump's not gonna listen to nobody but his own fucking ego. The only reason why the people around him are able to be around him is because they tell him everything that he would tell himself, or that, or they butter him up. But that's the only reason why. If they were to try to give him advice or some shit like that, he would just get rid of them. He would terminate them, put somebody else. That's the way Donald Trump gets down. Can nobody tell that man what he's gonna do or what he can do? He's a grandiose narcissist, bro. His narcissism is on a whole different type of level than than the average. He's been a narcissist for quite some time, and a rich one too, right? So making it, twice as bad. That individual's not gonna listen to none of these people. You know what I mean? So in all true reality, even if he did, tell Trump this and that, he was gonna tell that he was gonna tell him to kick rocks. And that's the truth of it. I get it. I get why people wouldn't feel bad for this individual, because he said a lot of fucking outlandish things, and the way he thought, the reason why I have insulted the individual in the past, right? Yeah, because he fucking said a lot of stupid shit and things stupid. I agree. 100 on that. Especially the how ironic of what he was discussing before he got shot, right? But at the same time, though, nobody deserves to lose their life over politics, though. You know what I mean? That fool could have gone up there and tried to like backhand him. Bah! You know what I mean? Even though even though you shouldn't do that either, right? But at least that. But don't kill the guy though. You can backhand him. You can punch him. Don't kill. I mean, he's got kids. Come on now. You know what I mean? Because then look, if we start doing this, then we become no better than those individuals, right? Because that's something that they would say. That's something that they would celebrate, right? So if you hate these individuals because of how they are and how they think, and now you start to think and behave just like them by saying the same thing that they would say, then you have became the very same thing that you hate, right? And I don't know, that's just not cool. Next shot. No, yeah, he got him good. I ain't gonna lie. He definitely got him good. It's crazy. But like I said, it really didn't need to be taken to that point, you know what I mean? But at the same time, if that's how people feel and if they're happy about it, then I mean, I can't control people in the way they feel about individuals. You know what I mean? I can only express and give my opinions on the matter, right? If people want to be happy and celebrate his death, then that's on them, People are entitled to feel and display however they choose. I'm just saying like how I see the matters, how I see things, Do you go to Lancashire? Yeah, Simon. Yeah, the Swami shit, yeah. That's why I would get all my gear, all my stuff. It's legit. I used to practically live there. No, I would. I used to go to the Swami all the time. Isn't that? Yes, it is. And yes, a lot of things would happen there. A lot of crazy shit. Yeah. Yeah, they were definitely there. You were definitely able to find them there. Not just there, but like throughout that whole entire area. back area, because that's like borderline of their hood and Boys from the Hood's hood. You know, because Boys from the Hood's hood was literally, if you were to go to the parking lot of the Lancashire Swami, and if you were to jump over the brick Great Wall, you would literally be in Boys from the Hood's hood. And they don't get along with them, so like they were literally separated by a brick wall. At least us, we were still separated by a little bit of work buildings, and then the train underneath passage, right? But then they literally didn't have no no breathing room between them. Is he still around? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They're not as like large as some of the other hoods, but they're still around though. Like I have always said, it's rare when a neighborhood really does completely like die out. It's rare that happens. It's just the way it is. And I was seeing some other videos too of the other guy. They had made an attempt on that other guy, the Nick Fuentes individual. I see the video where they went to his house. Some guy with a pistol and a bow, a bow and arrow. I was just like, what the fuck? Vincent Town. No, actually, no, they didn't. They're actually, pretty. They got a pretty good large, youngsters to them. Because a few crews got into Vincenttown, like KSM and DEF. They became they got into Vincenttown. Those two crews, the DEF crew and the KSM crew. They got into Vincenttown. So Vincenttown has several, and I know because I know a lot of those individuals. I got a lot of homies from Vincenttown. So those guys are still around. It's just that within that area, there's just so many different gangs congested in one area, right? That I guess it's hard to like notice like all the other activities that's going on between everybody else, right? Because it's like so many different hoods all in one location. It's a free for all. Because North Hills is a pretty fucked up area, bro. It is. It's just as bad as anywhere else. Because nobody gets along with each other up there. So you got a whole lot of shit going down. Haskell Locals isn't over. Actually, they are. They what's the name of that crew that got into their hood? RSC. Yeah, I think it was RSC. They got into Haskell. RSC. Yeah, I think it was RSC. I think it was like Reckless Style Crew or some shit like that. When my cousin died, I noticed how much gangsters support each other. There was a lot of members in Israel. Yeah, I mean, you're always in a have. It's because look, you guys grow up going through shit. Your homies are probably the only ones out there that understand your mentality, what you go through, and how you feel, because individuals just don't open themselves up to anybody, right? So homies know why individuals behave the way they behave and why they do what they do, right? It's just that it's something that people just don't discuss out in the open, right? And so growing up and we're going through all kinds of shit and you know what I mean? And handling stuff and stuff like that you build a strong bond with each other, right? But then people be like, oh, but then how come in certain, situations, people turn their backs on them or they backstab each other, whatever. And like I said, for those individuals never tell the real stories of why they end up or why those things happen, right? But there's always a story to everything of why stuff goes the way it goes, right? Like, I don't know. Next time somebody tells you a story like that or says that happened to him, You should tell them what really happened, though. You know, what exactly really did go down in order for that to be the outcome, though, because it just didn't happen, and they just didn't decide to cut you off just for no reason, though. You know, you decided to be selfish, only think about yourself, right? So and then you know you can't be mad now when individuals are, homing in on you. But yeah, it's a fucked up game though, because you pay a very 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 big price for some shit. Is Renemy Loca still around? Have you heard of? Yeah, I heard of them. Nah, they haven't been around for a long time. But see, with them it was different though. They were an all girl neighborhood, right? And there really wasn't that many of them, right? Maybe like 20 at the most, right? And it's just different with women. What's on PCs? Like Panorama City, or what do you mean? Or you mean like protective custody individuals? Like you mean like individuals that cooperate? Like if you're talking about like people that cooperate and go to protective custody, people use the wrong terms to describe those individuals. Like they just call them pussies and fakes and rankers, and that's not necessarily the scenario with those individuals. The best word to describe those individuals is selfish. Selfish and greedy. Why selfish and greedy? Because when things are going all gravy, right? When things is all good, you're chilling with the homies and stuff like that. Nobody forces anybody to do nothing that they don't want to do, right? Everybody goes and does stuff willingly. They participate willingly. They think it's fun. They think it's all good. They mingling and they're having the time of their life, right? And then they get caught. And this individual, to save his own ass, he's gonna blame everybody else, right? When nobody forced you to do nothing, nobody forced you to go in the car, nobody forced you to go. You participated willingly. But now that we have gotten caught up, all of a sudden you want to start pointing fingers and blaming individuals because you refuse to own up to your decisions. You refuse to be a man. You refuse to take accountability for your actions. And I don't know how people could commend that or think that they're doing the right thing. Why? By not owning up to what they decided to do and blame somebody else for their decisions. That's commendable. Because that's the only reason why it's done, to save their own ass. It's not done because they actually feel bad about the situations. Because if they would have felt bad, it wouldn't have had to came down to them getting caught up in order for them to start spilling the beans, right? Or even to participate willingly, as it's going down. Right? They're only saying what they're saying, not for the victims or not, to do the right thing, but because to save their own ass, because they got caught up. Because these individuals, individuals that are PCs from the other side, there were individuals that would put in work. They're individuals that have done things right. It's not like they forget how to do those things right. And it's not like individuals that are in there that are mainline see the PCs and don't worry about them like, oh, those guys are pussies or something. You're going to take them as a threat. You know what I mean? You're going to be aware when they're, you know what I mean? You're going to take them as a threat just like anybody else because they can still get it cracking just like anybody else. You know what I mean? It's not that they're cowards and they're not gonna. You get what I'm saying? When they say that they're bitches, they meaning as in the action, they're like the actions of them choosing to cooperate, meaning like that was a bitch move, but not in the sense like, oh, this guy's a bitch and he won't do nothing about it. You get what I mean? Those who live the life understand what I'm talking about, right? Those who are just like from the outside looking in, they hear this stuff and they automatically think that these guys are cowards and that they won't actually handle business. When nobody's saying none of that either, right? But the best way to describe them is selfish. You know, they're individuals that never cared about the neighborhood, only cared about themselves. You know, what could benefit them and only them. Con men, you know, they played the part. That's why they're good liars. That's why a lot of them are liars. And a lot of them will ever refuse to own up to any or take accountability for any mistake that they have ever done. Right? Because they have always been able to get away with shit. Even like this. And they're rewarded by people telling them that they did the right thing. But not taking accountability? Yeah. That's some good morals you're teaching there. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. It's a trip, though. Worse is if it's an individual who debriefed or he PC'd up, right? But then he's gonna come and proclaim to still be gangster or try to act like he's gangster. And it's like, stop, bro. Stop. Because when it was time to get gangster, you rolled it up. So, and that's just the truth of things. Not to hate on any individual, but it's like, you know, save it. Because you're not fooling nobody, because you had your moment to shine and you chose not to. So I don't know who the facade is for. Is Raiders jersey gangster related because it's banned in some school? It's not gangster related, right? But society sees it as gang related, though. You know what I mean? Like, society really is the ones that paint what they consider a gangster to look like. When I have homies that don't wear jerseys, I have homies that are not bald. You know what I mean? You know, but society thinks they know what a gangster looks like, right? Like, that's an NFL team, bro. You know what I mean? But society's the ones that, you know, come up with all this shit. Not the homies. You'll see homies embrace it, right? Because that's what's thrown on them. But it's not because that's what they come out and being like, yeah, hey, this is what we're about. They, like, people really think that gang members are really that stupid. Like, if they just want to adapt to, like, okay, if they're looking for individuals that look like this, then we'll just, you know, dress the opposite, right, to get away. So these guys are running around looking for people that look like this when now they look like this, right? You outsmart them because they've been fed the delusion and bought it. That's why when there's people that think just because of individuals balding has tattoos that automatically he's a gangster. When nah, that's not how it works either. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my lunch break is over. We got to get back to it. It was good chopping it up with you guys, and we out.